Hi guys, and welcome to another video. In this video we continue solving some puzzles, this time with more difficult ones, and I will again share my thinking process. So let's start with this one, and it's black to move. First I will check the captures, and we have a decent option here, taking the knight 3 points. He can get our queen, but we recapture. We have already 8 points for the queen. And we still have a huge threat, regaining his queen. And to prevent this, I think he must go knight e2, after which we have bishop g4, winning the knight. And after queen f1, we can take with the rook and threaten to win the queen again. So that should be it. Let's see. Takes, queen f1, and here we gain the queen for just the rook, and we are 3 points up in material. Okay, so the next one. Let's see what can be the issue here. So first thing which comes to my mind is the black king looks pretty weak. He has a lot of weak and dark squares, and we have some attacking potential, maybe also with queen d2. But maybe there is also the chance to force the king to some square like g8, and then sack the queen here, because after this we would fork and regain the queen while winning a whole knight. So let's check the ideas. So first start with the checks. Maybe we could start like this. If he goes here, then we can take because of the fork, and it's winning immediately. But what if he goes there? Maybe we could play knight to here, but he can take, and if we give the check, he can retreat the queen, so that seems not so clear. Let's see, if we go here, he goes here. Do we have any chance to bring our queen to the attack? Queen f3 is not possible. And I see no other entry squares for the queen. So let's check another move. Can we sack the queen immediately? Takes. If we check him this way, we won't have a fork thereafter because the bishop blocks the square. And if we go there, then he will again go to the corner. So let's see, what do we miss here? Aha, maybe we should go a bit deeper. And after knight f6, if he goes in between with the knight, we have a check. And if he goes there with the queen, then we can take the knight and checkmate. But he could go in between with the knight, which might be a problem. Because after this, I see no more checks. So we have some silent moves. Let's see. Maybe this is an idea, but actually the bishop cannot go there. Well, it might go there. Okay, let's see this idea. Queen d2. Our threat might be, give this check. He can take it, but then we come queen h6. King needs to go here or here to h8, and then we take here. And maybe this is something we should consider, or we could consider. Let's see, does he have any defense? So maybe after queen d2, he can go f5. After something like this, just run, which looks rather unclear. Okay, let's see. This looks somehow tempting, so I really want to play this one. Aha, so we can give a check. He goes back, he needs to go to h8, because otherwise, as we said, we can take here. And then we have another capture we have not yet paid attention to, and if he takes this one, then we have a back rank mate, and otherwise this is also a fork. So that should be it. So I should have applied the systematics a bit more early, looking for options on move 2, looking for more captures and not just focusing on the same ideas. And we take here. Okay, he plays queen to here, but now it's easy. We can just take and we win a knight. This is not a mate, so taking the knight is better. Okay, let's see the next one. The white pawns are very fast, and I see in general two options. Either we try to control them fully, or we try to go into a race. And we just need to calculate both approaches and see what is working better. Okay, let's calculate the race. A5, he cannot go further, and I think his fastest way is to try to block our bishop. So A5, F4, or maybe take, and then F4. I go A4, he goes F5, A3, and we're winning. No, we are losing, because after H7, A2, he has the queen first. So this somehow seems to fail. We could try to improve on this by bringing our bishop here. So let's calculate this kind of race. So A5, takes, bishop, pawn to F4. We spend one time tempo with our bishop. He goes, now it's not so easy for him. He goes F5, we go A4. If he goes G5, we first take here. I think he loses a lot of time. We take, king F4, we go back, king to E5, and A3, king F6. This should be winning, I guess. And I think there is no faster way he can approach this. And the problem is, if we are too slow, then he will just go to this corner with the king, and even if we stay a bishop up, this is the wrong corner, and I think he has some chances for draw. But basically, if we calculate the race and we think it's just winning, then we should of course go for it. And as we did this, we go for it. But now it's important. Okay, this move we didn't consider, but I think the idea is pretty slow, because he doesn't have a threat yet to block our bishop, so we just continue to run. And we continue to run. And now we're faster. Okay, next one. In this position we are 2 pieces down, and we should look for captures and checks. Okay, first thing to see is, okay, we can easily regain both pieces, but then it's probably just equal, because he will return his king to safety. So let's see. Queen e5 is of course very tempting, because we force the king forward, and maybe then we have something to checkmate him, or some ideas to play for an attack instead of just winning the bishop. So let's check this. So queen e5, king to here. Which checks do we have? We could check here, but maybe he just retreats. It's nothing special, because once the king returns to safety, then it's nothing. And if we go, let's say queen e5, king g5, and then h4, he might just try to hide there. And we have a check here, but he can block it with queen to g4, after which I don't believe that there is any follow-up, and after g4 it's the same. So maybe not this one. Let's see, what else do we have? We could take, king comes here, and then maybe we have a check on f4. If he goes to h5, this time queen e2 looks much more appealing, because we cut his queen off and he cannot play queen g4. He needs to go to h4. And no, he doesn't have so much space. Oh, sorry, I blundered this one. He can trade the queens. Then it's of course not working. Then I also don't believe this. Let's see. We cannot trade queens, of course. We cannot therefore play this one. We could start checking like this, but I see no point if he just runs backwards. So I'm pretty sure the solution must be something with queen e5. But the question is just how to follow up. However, in a game we could play this move because we have a relatively solid way out with rook takes b7. And we also don't have other options. We checked the other options, but we said, okay, queen trade is nothing and we need to be fast because otherwise he will retreat and there is no other way to prevent retreating the king than queen e5. So we go this way. And now we look for other options. So how could we check? Maybe this is an option, because if f6, then maybe the king is a bit more exposed and has no way back. But still, it's not so clear. Aha, let's see this one maybe once again. There is a point that if he goes queen g4, I might go h4, but then he can hide here. Not going back because then queen e5 would be made. Aha, how about this move here? We could maybe bring the rook back, threaten some h4, g4. Mate, this is interesting. It's a silent move, so not that easy to spot. But after rook d4, my threat is really check. King needs to go there, and because this pawn on f5 is pinned, g4 would be checkmate. And I think he basically needs to give up his queen to prevent that. Because capture doesn't work, counterattack doesn't work because I just checkmate. And if he does nothing, then I take the queen. So that's it. Okay, next one. So we are a lot of material down here. It's just one knight down. But the potential I see is the weak king. The king might be in a mating grid and we try to checkmate him. So let's see, how could we do this? We could try to attack this pawn, or we could try to attack the knight, or we could try to attack the knight from here. Or we could try to checkmate here. Already this is a checkmate. So the first thing to note is if we attack the knight, he cannot protect it because then it's just mate in one. So if we attack the knight, then he needs to free up his king. But if we take the knight, then he might just run away. And with this 2 versus 3 endgame, he might hold the draw. Or he should hold the draw. Let's see, what other options do we have? Can we threaten f3 any faster? Can we do it right now? That's actually a good question because it's with check. And it should work, yeah, because if knight takes, we have a check. And he needs to go in between. We take everything and it's mate on the 4. So first option, start with the checks, and there we are. Check, take, and checkmate. So this looks pretty basic. Can we do this? Take, take, and take. Then he has king d2, but we win a lot of material, I guess. He has no other options. Knight c2, we take and mate. So he needs to take, we take. He only has one option, we take the queen. This should be absolutely enough to win the game. So let's go for it. And rook d5. Okay, next one. Maybe this is about trapping the queen. Let's see if we have any ideas doing this. So the first idea coming to my mind is rook a1. Let's see if this works or if this fails. So basically the queen is already out of squares. So the only chance for him to stay in the game is some counterattacks. And the only chance I see is freeing up this bishop, attacking our queen. So knight e7 or knight to e4 are interesting. And we need to check them. So rook a1, let's first start with knight to d7. In this case, I could take here. He needs to recapture, and I take his queen. I'm already a rook up, and my rook is protected, so I'm just losing back an exchange. So we won something. Even though he has this fork in the end, it should still be, yeah, at least something, but not so clear. Let's see, do we have any other options? Knight d7, can we take here? I think we can't, because he will take our rook, and it's getting quite messy. So let's check this again. Take, king takes. We take the queen, he takes our rook, we take, pawn goes to e5. Can we save our piece there? We have a check and we save the piece, and then it's absolutely winning. Okay, that looks good. And what about the other way around? I think it's just the same. We take on f8 intermediately, and then we take the queen for free while our rook is protected, and now there would not even be a fork with e5 because the knight is not protecting the e5 pawn in this case, but it's standing on e4. So we go for it, rook a1, and this counterplay we saw shouldn't take here because then bishop a1, but we have this nice intermediate move. Take, take back, and piece up. So, okay, how about this position? We have an interesting check here. If he takes, we just recapture and win the bishop. So the only way he can play is going king to the corner. And then we might have some ideas checkmating, because this pawn is pinned and knight g6 would almost be made, but just almost. So we need to be a bit more careful there. Let's see, maybe we can play bishop d5, king goes to h8, and then threaten to checkmate. What can he do there? If he goes g6, we just take, and we win at least a pawn and still threatening checkmate. And if he goes h6, we can fork. He needs to take, otherwise he drops an exchange, and then queen takes, and it looks very close to mate to me. But he has rook f1, and then can run. But still, it looks like a huge attack. Let's see, do we have some alternatives here? Can we start this way, but then after h6, this is not even a check, which I think is an inferior version. So I strongly believe that this is the way. Let's check it once again. Check, bishop goes back, h6 only move, and then I give a check, needs to take it. I take it. Let's go further down the line. Take, take, still threatening checkmate here and threatening the bishop. So that should be it. That's the point, because we have a double attack. Well, still here could go queen f8 check. We need to go somewhere with our king. But now, in order to prevent the checkmate, queen g8 is not possible, because then the bishop would be unprotected again. And if he is running with the king, we could at least take the pawn on h6. So that's it. Let's go for it. Bishop e4, g6. Okay, this one we calculated. I was saying that we win at least a pawn, but maybe we should double check if we could take with the bishop or with the knight. Which one is more accurate? So when you have positions like this in a game, once it's on the board, you should always re-investigate your decisions, because sometimes, even though your first intention works well, the second thought might be even stronger, and we want to finish the game as quickly as possible and not to let it go, so we should pay attention. So let's see, if I take with the bishop, I'm actually threatening mate, which he cannot really prevent, except taking with the knight, and then I win an exchange. While if I do it the other way around, I take here, knight takes, bishop takes, I think it's less clear, because he could trade the rooks and then protect with the queen. So let's go for this one. I think he doesn't have any counters, no checks and captures, because once he captures on f4 first, then he's mated on h7. And that's it. So let's see this one. This looks like mating. We're very close to checkmating. And I see some interesting checks. Especially queen e4 looks very appealing, because he cannot take it because rook f1 is mate. And if he goes queen f3 then I take it with the rook, winning. If he goes there with the rook, I take the rook, it's also winning. Okay, so queen e4 is the way we take, and he cannot take our queen after rook f3, because then he's mated again. So that's it for this session. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Helps me a lot, and see you next time. Goodbye.